This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, friends. So in this Business Intelligence Master Program, this is our 12th session. In this session, we are going to see copy activity performance tuning. So how you can get the best performance in your copy activity. So while you are copying data from data stores, how you are going to increase the performance, how you can tune the performance. Okay, so these things we will see today. So we will learn today the scenarios. Okay, then we will see copy activity performance and the scalability, how you can increase the performance and scalability. Then data flow diagram, we will have estimations, prerequisites and record processes. Along with that, so today we are going to create two storage accounts. Okay, create two storage accounts, one storage in East US, another one in India. Okay, one storage I will create in East US, another one in India. Remember. Next, upload files into East US storage account. I will upload my files into East US storage account. Remember. Okay. Then I am going to create a Azure Data Factory V2. We know remaining things. Linked service, I will create multiple data sets pipeline. I will debug pipeline, I will run the pipeline and I will monitor the pipeline. Okay. So now you may have question why we are creating two storages today, because what I am going to do is I will show you when you are copying data within the same region, how much time it will take. If you are moving data from one region to another region, let's say if you are moving data from East US to East US, okay, how much time it will take? It will take less time because it's near, right? It will move the, like, it will copy the data much more faster. Now if you're copying data from East US to India, it will take more time because it has to send the data, like it's long distance, it has to travel, data should travel long distance. Okay, that's why it will take more time. We will see each and everything, how much time it is going to take. Okay, in which each scenario I already taken some statistics. Okay, I will show you those things and I will show you one or two scenarios, because if I try to show you everything, it will take 2 hours. Okay, for me it took more than 2 hours to get the all those statistics. Okay, fine. Now copy performance. Okay, remember, as a Azure developer, you want to perform a large scale data migration from data lake or enterprise data warehouse. It's nothing but a, maybe you can say, on-premise data warehouse. Okay, maybe you want to migrate data from data lake which you have in your on-premise, or whatever data you have in your data warehouse, into the Azure. See, data migration from data lake or enterprise data warehouse to Azure. I want to migrate data from on-premise to cloud. It's a huge data I'm trying to migrate. Other times you want to ingest a large amount of data from different sources into Azure. Maybe sometimes you need to ingest data from your AWS cloud to the Azure. Okay, for big data analytics, to apply the data analytics, you need to ingest data from AWS to the Azure, or you need to get the data from on-premise to the cloud. It's a large scale data sets, right? So in this case, how you are going to ingest the data, or how you are going to migrate data in a optimized way with a very good performance. Okay, what you need to take in care to get the better performance. Okay, so those things we will see. In each scenario, it is critical to achieve optimal performance and scalability. So you have a multiple scenario. One is maybe you are migrating data from on-premise to cloud. Second one is you are migrating data from cloud to cloud, but it is not in a AWS, Azure to Azure. It may be from AWS to Azure. AWS is also another cloud provider. Okay, so two scenarios I covered now. One is you are migrating data from on-premise to cloud. Second one is you are copying data from AWS to Azure. Not only this, so when you are saying on-premise, what is your on-premise source? Maybe data warehouse, data lake, on-premise SQL server, okay, file system, it can be anything. So depends on the source, you need to tune the performance. Again, depends on the source, from which source you are getting the data. Based on that, you need to tune the performance. Okay, remember. So in each scenario, it is critical to achieve optimal performance and scalability, because in each scenario we need to identify, okay, if the source is this, okay, how many DIUs I need to use, how many parallelism, degree of parallelism I need to use. What are those? I will explain you, but you need to use those settings, to change the different settings to check the what is the optimal selection of your DIUs and performance units. Okay, so I will show you all those things. Next, as a developer, you need to take care of the below things. Okay, to get the better performance, you need to take care of the below things. One is you need to handle large amount of data, that you need to keep it in your mind. Next one is when you are migrating large amount of data, you need to get the better performance. Okay, it should be a high performant, meaning you should get the highest performance. Third one is, so I just want to get highest performance, as many DIUs I want I can use. If you use too many servers, okay, too many DIUs, what happens is it is going to increase the cost. Okay, example very simple. You have a project who can deliver to that project can be delivered by 2 developers. Okay, simply if you hire 100 people, what happens, project will deliver for sure, but the problem is you are increasing the cost. You are increasing the cost. Instead of hiring 2 people and deliver the work, simply you are hiring 100 people. What happens, you are going to increase the cost. That's why you need to think whether is it possible to finish it with one person. If I am going to finish this project with one person, how much time it is going to take. If I am going to finish this project with 2 people, how much time it is going to take. You need to optimize how many resources you need to deliver a project. In the same way, how many resources you need to copy data from one source to another source. Okay, one source to another sink, you can say. Clear, friends? So these are the things you need to take in care. You should not go, like you should not use too many DIUs. It's nothing but a too many resources to copy data. If you use too many resources to copy your data, you will increase the cost. That's why you need to tune between these two. You need to go with a minimal cost, then you need to get a maximum performance. So for that, we have a different settings that we need to do. So those things we will see. Okay. ADF control flow can start multiple copy activities in parallel. For example, using for each loop, we know, right? So when we are when we are copying data, not only one copy activity, multiple copy activities we can use. If you remember, we have used for each loop. In for each loop, we have two things, right? Sequential and batch count. What is sequential? Sequential means one by one. Batch means you are going to execute multiple copy activities. Up to 50 copy activities you can execute parallelly. Okay, so in this case, how you are going to increase the performance? Okay, see, if you are going with a single copy activity, one by one you are going to execute. In that case, how you are going to do? You see, a single copy activity can take advantage of scalable compute resources. Compute resources, it's nothing but a integration runtime. When using Azure integration runtime, you can specify up to 256 data integration units. Okay, how many DIUs you can specify? When you are using Azure integration runtime, you can specify up to 256 data integration units. These are the DIUs. These are called DIUs. I was talking about this, right? So these are called a DIUs. Based on these DIUs, you are going to get the performance. What is DIU? I will explain you. It's nothing but a CPU, memory. So all these resources capacity. Okay. So if you are increasing the DIUs count, so you are increasing the memory, you are increasing the number of cores, all those things in your server. Okay, so you can specify up to 256 data integration unit. You see here, maximum that we can get is 256 integration unit. Okay, for each copy activity in a serverless manner. It's a not a server, so we are not setting up any server here. Everything will be taken care by Microsoft Azure. Everything will be taken care by Microsoft Azure. What you are doing is you are just mentioning, I want 2 DIUs. Based on your number of DIUs, okay, in backend, memory, CPU, and other resources will be increased. If you are taking 4, let's imagine when you say T2 DIUs, maybe memory is 100 MB and 2 cores. When you increase 4 DIUs, maybe memory is 200 MB, cores is 4 cores. So meaning based on DIUs, your server's capacity will increase. Based on DIUs, you will get the you will get the better performance in your copy activity, because if you have more people, you can deliver the project quickly. In the same way, if you have more DIUs, you can copy the data quickly. What is DIU? I will explain you in detail, but just remember DIU is nothing but a It's a resource capability, resource capacity. Okay, resource capacity, remember. And we know integration runtime means we are not setting up, okay, this integration runtime size should be this much, it should be 16 GB RAM and 4 cores. That option we don't have, because this is a serverless. So if you want to get the maximum performance, if you want to use the maximum resources, you just increase the 256, up to 256 DAUs you can increase. Okay, nobody is going to use 256 DAUs. I will tell you, okay, what are the default DAUs, how you, when you can use, if you use 2 DAUs, what is the performance, everything we will discuss. Okay, when using self-hosted IR, you can take either of the following approach. Because now my question to all of you, if you remember, can you tell me who is going to manage Azure integration runtime?
ADS.
Microsoft.
Microsoft, very good. Who is going to manage self-hosted IR?
People. It's people we.
So we are going to maintain the self-hosted IR. Azure integration runtime will be managed by our Microsoft. Now, when you were talking, please be in mute, friends. Vinod. Okay. See now, when you are going with the Azure integration runtime, we have DAUs because it's a serverless. You are not selecting your hardware. You don't know, okay, what is back end hardware, all those things you are not setting up. Everything will be set up by your Microsoft. If you want to increase the memory and CPUs, other things, other resources, you just increase the DAUs. If you increase the DAUs, back end capacity will be increased automatically. It's a serverless. You don't know, even if you increase 2 DAUs, how much memory they are going to increase. If you make it as a 5 DAUs, how much they are going to increase. Those details we will not have. Those details information we will not have. Okay, but if you increase these DAUs, you will see a better performance, because in back end, based on DAUs, your resource capacity will increase. Next, when using self-hosted IR, that is managed by we. So we know what is the mission capacity, whether we are using a 16 GB 4 cores mission, or we are using a 8 GB RAM and 4 cores mission. Okay, so we know what kind of mission, what kind of server we are using. Suppose if I install self-hosted integration runtime in my laptop is just 8 GB and some 2 cores. Okay, so now this is the capacity of my self-hosted integration runtime. So within this capacity I should use. Okay, I know. Now if you want to scale, if you want to get the copy activity performance by using self-hosted IR, you need to do two things. One is manually scale up the mission. Manually scale up the mission means, scale up means increase your RAM size, increase your CPUs, okay, other capacity of your server, your laptop, RAM, CPUs, and other things you can increase. Maybe you have to like you have to attach the other things. Maybe you have to increase your memory. Okay, so you know, right? So you can increase the memory of your RAM, your system. Okay, then you can increase the CPUs of your system. So all these things you can do. So what they are saying is, you can go with manually scale up the mission, meaning in a single mission you can increase the memory and CPUs. Second option is, okay, I have a laptop, okay, only one laptop. Instead of increasing the memory and CPUs in this laptop, I will use the multiple laptops, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4 missions you can use. Understood, friends? When you come to the self-hosted IR, you can increase the performance in 2 ways. One is, if we have a less memory and less CPUs to copy data, so as you have less resources, it will take more time. Okay, so if 100 people has to do the work, but if you assign only one person, it will take a lot of time to finish that work, because 100 people work he has to do. In the same way, if you have a small mission, if you assign a big task, it will be difficult for this mission to do. That's why you can do two things. One is you add the other missions, other small missions also fine, you add other small missions, or increase the capacity of the single mission. So scale up the mission means increase the capacity of a single mission. Scale out to multiple missions means add the other laptops. It's nothing but other computers. Understood, friends? So how many computers I can add? Up to 4 computers. See, computer or server or node, it's nothing but a same. Okay, laptop or server or node, these all are same words, remember. Okay, up to 4 nodes I can add, meaning up to 4 servers I can able to add. Next, a single copy activity reads from and writes to the data store using a multiple threads in parallel. So when this is the DIU is the one of the factor, one of the settings. Second setting is we have a something called degree of parallelism. What it indicates is how many threads. Okay, thread is nothing but a, you know, right, multi-threading, meaning you have a single computer. In a single computer you can run the multiple processes. Okay, so you see, I can listen the songs at the same time. I can able to work in my laptop. Maybe I can watch movie and I can listen some other song. Okay, maybe I can watch some other movie, I can listen some other song. Okay, both are different, both are going to run in two different threads. Okay, there is no dependency. Audio will play independently, your movie will play independently. So two different threads. In the same way, you can use this something called degree of parallelism. It's nothing but a threads. How many threads you need for reading the data? What these threads will do, when you have 1 GB of data, if you are using two threads, okay, if you are using two threads will go and read, like first thread will read 500 MB, second thread will read 500 MB. Okay, thread is nothing but a separate processor. Okay, clear? Any doubts, friends, in this slide? Anybody have any questions? What is serverless? Very good question. Serverless means many people think that we don't have server. Don't think like that. Serverless is nothing but a server will be there, but that server we are not going to maintained by Microsoft. Even we don't know what is the configuration of that server. That's why we are calling it as a serverless. Clear, Venkateshwarlu?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Clear, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. Any other questions, friends? Okay, if no questions, let me move forward. Okay, see, Azure Data Factory provides the following performance optimization features. One is, as we discussed, data integration unit. Okay. Second one is self-hosted integration runtime scalability. Data integration units you are going to use when you are using the Azure integration runtime. Self-hosted integration runtime you need to use when you are moving data from on-premise to the cloud. When you are copying data from on-premise to the cloud, we are going to use the self-hosted integration runtime. So these two factors are important. Next, parallel copy. So as we discussed, it's nothing but a threads, number of threads. So if you have 1 GB data, if you use two threads, what it will do, first thread will read half data, second thread will read half data. If you are using 4 threads, like your 1 GB data will partition into 4 parts, and 4 threads will read one partition. Let's say 1 GB data, 250 GB, 250 GB, 250, sorry, 1 GB data, 250 MB, 250 MB, 250 MB, 250 MB. Total 4 parts we have. When you have 4 threads, one thread will read one part of the data. So each part is having a 250 MB. One thread will go and read 250 MB, another thread will go and read 250 MB. Okay, that is the parallel copy. Next, staged copy. Staged copy is basically, this is very important because when you are loading data into Azure Synapse Analytics from your storage directly, it will take more time. That's why we are going to load this data into a staging layer. Once you load this data into a staging layer, from that staging layer, data will be loaded into the Azure Synapse. Okay, Azure Synapse with the high throughput. That is nothing but by using a polybase technique, it is going to load data into the data warehouse very efficiently with high throughput. Okay, that's why staged copy also very important. We need to use all of these to tune your copy activity performance. Okay, we will discuss one by one. Okay, what is data integration unit and all those things. Let me move on. Let's see, what is data integration units? So a data integration unit is a measure that represents the power of a single unit in Azure Data Factory. What is that power? Power is a combination of CPUs, a central process unit, and a memory and network resource allocation. Okay, all the resources which you need for copying data. Okay, all these things. Okay, yeah, Ramu. So there is nothing to teach much, but I'm going to take that session. Okay, we will cover that also. Don't worry. Power is a combination of CPU, memory, and the network resource allocation. DIU only applies to Azure integration runtime. DIU does not apply to self-hosted integration runtime. Can anybody tell me why DIU is not applicable for self-hosted integration runtime?
DIU is provided by Microsoft. That's why.
What?
DIU is provided by Microsoft company, right? That's why.
Not DIU is provided by. So DIUs basically we are going to get for the Azure integration runtime. Azure integration runtime is a serverless because we don't know that particular server configuration. So that's why to get the to utilize maximum resources from that particular Azure integration runtime server, we need to increase the DIUs. Okay, but self-hosted integration runtime is within our scope, right? So we can able to scale up or scale out whatever we want to do, we can able to do. That's why DIUs only applies to Azure integration runtime. Okay,
Okay.
I everybody's clear. Nothing but a power. Okay, what is that power? That power will allow you to ingest data into the cloud. Okay, read data from on-premise and load it into your Azure, or read data from AWS and load it into your Azure. So all these things we are able to do with the help of this power. What is this power? Power is a combination of CPU, memory, and network resource allocation. Okay, this is important. Next, parallel copy. Okay, you see here, you can set the parallel copies property to indicate the parallelism you want the copy activity to use. Okay, so as I said, multiple threads I want to operate to read a data. So then you have to specify how many parallelism units you want. Think of this property as the maximum number of threads within the copy activity. Within a single copy activity, you are using a multiple threads. See, the threads operate in parallel. The threads either read from your source or write to your sync data store. It will read data parallelly. Let's say you consider 1 GB data, 4 threads. Each thread is reading 250 MB. It will read data. At the same time, these 4 threads will write data to your destination as well. 250 MB, 250 MB. Each thread which read 250 MB, same data it will write it into your destination as well. Okay, parallel copy means threads. Remember. Next, staged copy. A data copy operation can send the data directly to the sync data store. Alternate, so that you can do it directly. You can load data into sync data store, but we are going to use a staged. We are going to load this data into a staging layer. The reason for this is to copy, to use a high throughput units, like to use the high throughput capacity to load data into your Azure Synapse. Okay. Alternatively, you can choose to use a blob storage as an interim staging store. Okay. So mostly people will use blob storage because it's mainly for the temporary storage, right? So remember, when you use stage copy in backend, it will look like you are using 2 copy activities because data will copy from source to stage. In second copy activity, it to again stage data will read and load it into your sync at the last one. Okay, that's why in back end it will look like a 2 copy activities, but when you see from front end, you are going to use only 1 copy activity, but you will use a staging layer. Read data from source and load it into staging layer. From staging layer, again read the data and load it into your target. Okay, next. Okay, so these 3 we have. Now I'm going to talk about that self-hosted integration runtime one. So that is a separate one. That's why I included in separate slide. But any questions here? Data integration unit is nothing but a power which helps you to ingest data into your Azure. And power is a combination of CPU, memory, and a network resource allocation. Parallel copy is nothing but a threads. If you want to read data parallelly, you need to use the threads. Staged copy means you are going to load data into a staging layer, then you are going to load it into your sync, that is nothing but, let's say, Azure Synapse Analytics and all those things by using a poly-based technology. So you just have to select the number of degree of parallelism units you need to increase. See, you are not going to do anything. You just have to select how many DAUs you need, how many parallel degree of parallelism units you want, how many threads you want. Okay.
Sir, sir, one small question, sir. During the parallel processing, is there any chance to override the data?
Override the data, that is up to you. So we have seen yesterday copy behaviors. Right?
Sorry, sir. So my question: is there any chance to override the data because of we are parallelly doing the copy activity? Right? Is there any chance? By mistake, I'm saying. I'm not saying wantedly overriding. By mistake, is there any chance to override the data?
Override the data means what? What is by mistake? No, you mean you have a source set, two records, two threads are writing reading data parallelly and writing data parallelly. So will these two will override? You mean that is
Yes,
your question?
yes, yes, yes,
That
yes.
is not
Correct.
going to happen. That will not happen. Okay, that override will not happen.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Self-hosted integration and then scalability. So we talked about here all these things because this basically mostly involved with Azure integration and DAUs. But here self-hosted integration and then scalability. How you do? If you'd like to achieve higher throughput, you can either scale up or scale out the self-hosted IR, as we discussed. Scale up means single server capacity you need to increase. Scale out means you add the other servers. You just add the other servers. That's all. Okay, now if the CPU and available memory on the self-hosted IR node are not fully utilized, but the execution of concurrent jobs is reaching the limit, you should scale up by increasing the number of concurrent jobs that can run on a node. So here what they are saying is, let's say the maximum concurrent jobs which are going to run maybe 32, okay, something like that. Now when you have that limit, what happens, the existing CPU, the existing memory is too much. These 32 concurrent jobs are not utilizing your complete memory and CPUs. In that case, you need to tell each concurrent job, each concurrent job, please utilize like this much memory. You can tell, okay, how much memory each job can utilize, how many CPUs each job can utilize. That particular configuration you can set so that your CPUs and memory will be utilized optimized way. Okay, meaning completely your memory and CPU will be utilized. Okay, nothing is going to be idle, meaning none of the resources are going to be non-utilized. Everything will be utilized properly. Okay, so there is other case where you are not reaching the number of concurrent jobs, but your CPU and your memory is already utilized completely. In that case, what you need to do? See, if on the other hand the CPU is high on the self-hosted IR node are available, memory is low. CPU is high but memory is low. You can add a new node to help scale out the load across the multiple nodes. What they are saying is, so you can add the other missions, other servers you can add to the existing server to increase the, like, to get the more memory, because we have already CPU. So you just add the other nodes with a memory. So you'll have in each server you'll have a memory and CPU. So if you add the other servers, you'll get the memory. So even if you have if you are using single node, memory will be less because you will have an issue, right? So when you have a memory is less, you will get memory out of errors. Okay, to avoid those things, you just add the other nodes to the existing node. How you can install the self-hosted integration and then on multiple nodes, that we will discuss. Okay, clear, friends? Any questions here?
Sir, what is meant by node here?
Same thing. Node is nothing but a server. Self-hosted IR node is nothing but a, in which server you have installed that particular IR. That is called a self-hosted IR node.
Okay.
Clear, Murli?
Yes.
Fine. So copy activity performance. See, I have taken some of the stats. Now you see when I am moving data from east to west to east to west, I have tried. So when I try to copy 3 GB of data by using 4 DIUs, 2 degree of parallelism, meaning 2 threads, 4 DIUs, it just took 13 seconds. I have used maximum DIUs and degree of parallelism I have used 2. Okay. Now you see here the degree of like DIUs I have reduced. DIUs I have reduced. The degree of parallelism I have kept as is. It took 28 seconds. Okay. Now DIUs I kept as is. I decreased the degree of parallelism. It increased. Thus again the time taken is increased to 40 seconds. Now DIUs I have increased again to 4. Okay. But degree of parallelism I'm using just 1. So now you see how much time it is taking. It is taking 2 minutes 40 seconds because the degree of parallelism is too low. Okay, right. Now you see 16 GB, 4 DIUs I am using, 4 degree of parallelism I am taking. So this much time it is taking 3.45 seconds. Now you may have a doubt. So why this statistics came like this? So here you are using 4 DIUs, 1 degree of parallelism, 4 DIUs, 4 degree of parallelism, right? So sometimes due to internal issue, you will see these kind of variations, but you will not see same things always. When you use more DIUs, more degree of parallelism, surely the time will reduce. Okay, if you see here degree of DIUs and degree of parallelism, here it is decreased, but when you increase the degree of parallelism, it is basically increased. Later I decreased and tried again, it is decreased a little bit compared to the previous one. Okay, meaning this is the optimized way. Okay, friends. So these are the things you need to know when you are moving data from east to west to east to west. If the time is taking more time when you are using DAUs and degree of parallelism, you try to execute 1 or 2 times. Okay, you will see the variance. Sometimes due to internal issues, you will see these kind of values. Example, when you use DIUs 4 and degree of parallelism 1, you are seeing 2.40 seconds, very less time. But when you are using more DIUs and the maximum degree of parallelism, you are like see here 3.45 seconds. It is taking more time. Okay, but this is not going to be same always. Okay, but if you run again and again, you will see that variance, meaning when you use more degree of parallelism, the time will reduce. Okay, next I tried to load data from east to west to India. Okay, now you see I used 16 GB. Okay, the DIUs I have used is 2 and degree of parallelism I have used 1. So now you see the time which it has taken is very high, 11.35 seconds. Now you see the correct values I got when I moved data from east to west to India. When I increased the DIUs, I kept the degree of parallelism same. See now time has reduced 8.3. Next, when I have taken 16 GB same data size, DIUs is 4, degree of parallelism is 2. Now I increase the parallelism, the time which it takes to copy data is reduced again. Okay, only here the problem came because due to some internal issue, it will not be always same. But you see, when I'm moving data from east to west to India, the size is reduced. Okay, the like time taken is reduced based on the your DIUs and the degree of parallelism. Okay, so we are going to see all those things practically, don't worry. Now you see copy scenarios between file store. When I am copying data between data like storage to the blob or AWS S3 to the blob or file system on-premise file system to the blob, so the default DIUs is going to be 4 actually. Okay, the default DIUs is going to be 4, but here they mentioned 2 to 4, right? But I have seen always it is going to take a 4. They said it is going to take a default value from 2 to 4. It is not true. It is by default it is taking 4. Okay, next Okay, so it is basically they're saying single file it is 2 to 4, and for multiple files 2 to 256. So remember the default DAUs is going to be 4 always. Okay, not always, based on the stores. Now, when you are copying single file, when you are copying a single file, the default DAUs is going to vary from 2 to 4. When you are copying multiple files, the DAUs will vary from 2 to 256. Okay, we have a configuration called auto. Auto means automatically it is going to identify what is the optimized number of DAUs. So based on your source data store and sync data store, from which location to which location you are copying, based on all these configurations, it is going to decide what is the number of DAUs, what is the like optimized number of DAUs it is going to select. But if you want, you know that by default, as I said, it is going to give you 4. But I am trying to copy very small data all the time. Maybe my data is very small. I don't want to use 4 DAUs. Then you can set up to 2. You can configure it to 2. Okay, you see, copy from to single file. If you're copying a single file, 2 to 4 will be used. When you're copying multiple files, it will use 2 to 256. Depends on the number and size of the files. It depends on the number of files and size of each file. It is going to utilize from 2 to 256. For example, if you copy data from a folder with 4 large files and choose to preserved hierarchy, we know already what is preserved hierarchy, right? So it is going to keep exactly same structure in the target. Whatever structure we have in source, same structure it will keep it in your target. The max effective DAU is 16. Okay, when you have a 4 large files, it is going to take 16 DAUs. Okay, when you choose to merge file, the max effective DAU is 4, because when you are merging, all these 4 files will merge and you will get a single file. That's why it is going to use a 4. But if you are trying to move all these 4 files, large files, so for each file 4, 4, 4, 4. So 4 into 4, total 16 DAUs it is going to use. Next, from file store to non-file store. Example, I am copying data from blob storage to the SQL database. It's not a file store, it is going to be a RDBMS system. So again, if you are copying from single file 2 to 4, if you are copying data from multiple files 2 to 256, same. Okay, for example, if you copy data from a folder with 4 large files and the max effective DAUs is 16. Okay, if you have a maximum 4 large files in your source set, maximum how many DAUs it will use? 16. For each large file, 4 DAUs. Okay, next. So from non-file store to file store. Non-file store to file store means what? So from SQL database, some RDBMS system to the maybe you can say your blob storage, or from REST API to your blob storage. Okay, from HTTP request to your blob storage. In all these cases, so what happens? Same thing here. It is going to use 2 to 256 when writing to a folder, and 2 to 4 when writing to one single file. We know writing to a folder means when we use wildcard star.json or star, if we use what we are trying to do, we are trying to take entire data from folder and trying to copy. Star.json means we are taking a subset of the data from folder and trying to write it into your destination. In that case, it is going to take a 2 to 256 DAUs. If you're trying to select single file, then it will use 2 to 4 DAUs. Okay, here they have given, so when you copy from REST API or HTTP to your blob storage or some file stores, it will use 1 DAU. Copy from image and Redshift using unload, so 2. Other scenarios 4. See, image and Redshift is what? It's nothing but a SQL data warehouse kind of thing. You will have it's RDBMS system basically, where you will have a table. So from that RDBMS system, you are loading data into files. Non-file store to file store. In that case, it is going to use 2 DAUs. When you are copying data from REST or HTTP to your file store blob storage, 1 DAU it will use. Other scenarios, it is going to use 4. Okay. So likewise, here we have some examples. You can see those things. Okay. Got it, friends? These are the some default values. Okay, fine. Calculate the copy duration. You see here, if you have a 50 Mbps speed, if you are trying to copy 1 GB of data, this much time it will take. If you have a 100 Mbps speed, and if you are trying to copy a 1 GB of data, you are going to get this, like within this much time you are going to finish the copy activity. So we have these statistics. Okay, for 500 Mbps if you are using, and if you are trying to copy 1 GB data, then it will just take 0.3 minutes. Okay, it's nothing but a 30 seconds. Sorry, it's not a 30 seconds. 0.3 means you need to calculate 18 seconds. It is going to take. It is going to take 18 seconds. It's minutes. Okay, so all these calculations you can able to do. But now the question is how you will get Mbps, 50 Mbps, 100 Mbps, 500 Mbps is based on your DIUs. DIUs capacity. You are going to get this speed. I will show you all this. Okay. We will increase the DIUs and degree of parallelism sizes. We need to do. That's why we are learning. Okay, what to select. We need to do all those things. Nobody will do. But DIUs, degree of parallelism, if you are not setting up anything, like your copy activity will identify the optimized number and it will use. But there are some scenarios where you are going to use very large data sets, but your copy activity is going to use a very less number of DIUs. In that case, you are going to take more time, because basically by default Microsoft, what they are going to do is they will check both the things to save the cost and to give the better performance. But some cases, as per our requirement, doesn't matter. Okay, little bit cost is, we can compromise with the cost, but performance I need to get, because my reporting should be ready within 1 hour or within 2 hours. For that I need to load the data quickly, and my entire process I need to complete quickly. For that you need to increase the DIUs. Another scenario where we have a small data set, you are getting very less data daily. So by default your copy activity will use 4 DIUs, meaning you are spending unnecessarily more DIUs. So you need to use the less DIUs in that case. So all these things you are going to take care. Clear, sir? Clear, sir, Venkatesh, sir? Okay, fine. Now you see, here you see you have a AWS services, here you see Azure services, here you see on-premise services. We have SAP, Oracle, Teradata, SQL Server, Cloudera, and Hortonworks. So you have a different on-premise data stores. Here you have Amazon Web Services, Salesforce, okay, and you have a Redshift, all those things, AWS S3, you can include all those things. Here you have a Azure services, Cosmos DB, SQL database, SQL data warehouse, blob storage, all these things we have. Now let's say you are copying data from on-premise to data lake storage, maybe on-premise to Azure storages, or you are moving data from AWS to Azure storages. Okay, see, when you are moving data from cloud to cloud, we are going to use a Azure AI. When we are moving data from on-premise to cloud, we are going to use a self-hosted AI. You see the diagram here. We are using self-hosted AI. So this is the pipeline which is going to copy data from on-premise to cloud. For that, we are going to use a self-hosted IR. How you can scale up your self-hosted IR? So you can use a single mission. In a single mission, you can able to scale up the your self-hosted integration runtime, or you can add the more nodes. Maximum you can add the 4 nodes. See, now 4 nodes added, 4 VMs added. Okay, so we can able to install self-hosted IR in a 4 nodes. Now Azure IR, so up to 256 DIUs you can take. How many VMs they will add in backend, what is the capacity of each VM, doesn't matter to us. Okay, even they have not given anything in the documentation. Nobody knows how much memory will be given for selecting 2 DIUs. If you select 4 DIUs, how much memory and the CPUs they will give. So those details nowhere available. Okay, clear. See, now you have a data factory pipeline. This is pipeline which will move data from on-premise to cloud. This is the pipeline which will move data from AWS to the cloud. Now you see self-hosted IR will be used by this pipeline because it is copying data from on-premise to cloud. This is the on-premise to sources. I'm moving data into cloud. Now you see customer managed infra with scaling options. So customer managed meaning we are going to manage this infrastructure, self-hosted IR. It's a powerfulness and concurrency. So meaning you can just you have a multiple options. One is you can scale up the your mission, or you can scale out, meaning you can add the other missions, other nodes, or other servers to the this particular self-hosted IR. Meaning self-hosted IR you can install on the other missions. Now Azure IR means, see, elastic managed infra to handle the data at scale, configurable DIUs per run. So for each run, how many DIUs you want, so you can able to configure those things. Okay, next, flexible. See, this is the pipeline which is copying data from cloud to cloud. So flexible control flow and scheduling to scale out, meaning you can use something called control flow. What are those examples? You can use for loop. In for loop or if conditions, you can use based on those things. In for loop, what you can do, you can say batch count is 50, meaning 50 copy activities you can execute at a time in this pipeline. So when you are using 50 copy activities, automatically these DAUs, if you select auto, automatically DAUs will be given, okay, in an optimized way. It will consider both resources and the cost. But when we are compromised with cost, we can increase the more DAUs. Okay, this is Azure IR, which will allow you to move data from cloud to cloud. This is self-hosted IR, which will move data from on-premise to cloud. Here you can do two things: scale up and scale out. Here you can increase the DAUs. Clear? Any doubts, friends?
Malaya,
So whatever.
in the cluster environment, how this self-hosted IR and Azure IR will work? How to scale up during the cluster environment? Let's see if I have two
Yeah, those
machines.
things we are going to. Because those things we did not discuss, right? Self-hosted IR we are not completed it. So we need to install. See, self-hosted IR we can install on a this particular mission. This mission size we can increase further. Okay, or we can add the other missions to the this mission. So what it means is you can set up a 4-node cluster. It's kind of a 4-node cluster you can set up. These 4 nodes will work to copy, or these 4 nodes will help you to ingest data into your cloud. Okay, those things I will show you how you can install on 4 nodes. Okay, how these 4 nodes will work as a cluster, all those things I will show you. Any specific question, Murli? Who is asking?
No, fine. I'm fine.
Okay. Now let's move on. Okay. So right, all these things. I want to move data from blob to blob. Okay. So input container, I have a custody.csv. This file I want to move it into the output container. We will create a linked service. Then we will create a data set which refers to your input container. Then I will pick the files, and I want to copy this data. Where you want to copy this data? I want to copy into output container. For that, I need to create a linked service. This linked service which will refer to the output container. I will put this particular file in a output container. These all things will be done by your Azure integration runtime and managed by Azure Data Factory. These things you know. Now today, not only this is one factor. You are going to move data from blob storage to blob storage. Within the same blob, I will move data from input to output container. But second scenario is we are going to see, I want to move data from input, like maybe you can consider one storage, maybe in this blob storage input container to another blob storage which is there in a India location. Into that blob storage, I want to move the data. So let's consider 2 storage, blob storage. One is in East US, another one in India. So I will copy data from East US data center storage to the India data center storage. Okay. So what is the difference? How much time it is going to take? All those things we will analyze. The estimations we know, one linked service we need, 2 data sets I will create. Okay, 1 copy activity I will use to copy data from blob to blob. How many pipelines? 1 pipeline. What type of fire we are going to use? Azure integration runtime. Prerequisites, we know what is Azure storage account, we should know data factory integration runtime. linked service data set activities and pipeline. Okay, required resources are storage account and ADF filter. Okay, that's all. Let's do all those things. Before we do all these things, so performance means you cannot test it with 1 MB file, 2 MB file, or something like that. So it required a little bit big size files, right? Maybe you need to test it with 1 GB file or 3 GB files or 5 GB files, right? So for that, what I wanted to do is, so if I try to do all those things from my mission, it will take at least till evening. So to avoid those things, what I wanted to do, I want to create one virtual mission. Inside this virtual mission, I can able to download the big files very quickly. Okay, let's click on virtual mission. Don't worry, what is this virtual mission? If you want, I will explain you. This is a just exactly same as our computer. This computer is available in a data center. That computer, I am able to access it from my physical computer. That is a virtual computer. This is a physical computer. Virtual means it is not visible. I cannot touch it, but it is there somewhere. Physical means I can able to touch it. I can able to see it. Okay. Let's say resource group I want to create. Click create new. This one I can say cloud Pandey BI. Click OK. Come down. Virtual mission name you can say cloud Pandey BI. So East US2. I am launching in East US2. I want a Windows mission. I don't want a Linux mission. I want a Windows mission. So you select Windows server. Windows means you can able to see Windows, right? Desktop, all those things. Otherwise, if it is a Linux mission, you need to use the command line interface to like to work in your system. Okay, it is difficult to work in Linux system for this particular requirement. That's why I'm selecting Windows mission. What is the capacity of this Windows mission? You see 2 CPU, 16 GB RAM. Okay, this configuration is fine for me. Let me give the username. This is my password. I'm just giving the just enter username password. Don't worry, just click review plus create. Click review plus. So validation path you can create it. It will create. Now open one more tab here. I will open one more tab. Come to your second tab. So just click on storage accounts. So as I said, I am going to create 2 storage accounts. Click add storage account. Don't confuse because we'll have some confusion here. Okay. This is the resource group. This I can say cloud Pandit East US. So this is East US. Let it be East US or East US to anything is fine. Let it be in East US, no issue. Now just click review plus create. Click create. Okay, just click on home again. I want to create one more storage. Click on home. Click on storage accounts. Let me create one more storage. Pre-trial resource group is this. Here storage account name. Storage account name I can say cloud funded India. So I want to launch it in India. See, this I am going with South India. Okay, click review. Create. So you created 2 storages now. Come to here. Let's create data file. I hope you understood, right, why I have created virtual machine. Because if I want to download 1 GB file, it will take some time. If I want to upload 1 GB time, it will take minimum 10 to 15 minutes from my system. So that's why I want to show all those things from the VM. If I'm showing all those things from VM, it will be much more faster. Okay, Cloud Pandit area of video. So you know all these things: subscription, resource group, region, and name and version. Okay, click into configuration. This is the configure bit later. Click into test. Click here.
Sir, I have one basic question.
Come to
Sir?
tell me.
Yeah,
Make sure you are in a separate room.
okay.
Okay, so now just click on go to resource. Now let's click connect. Okay, so do one thing, otherwise just come here and remove, just say remove this stuff. Okay, here I just take this public IP address, enter this to connect to VM. This is how you need to connect. Take public IP. Okay, give here, click connect. This is my username I'm entering. This is my password. So this is my virtual machine. I am inside virtual machine now. You see. Okay, I am not in my local system. I am in a virtual machine. No, now. Okay, see now. Just wait for 30 seconds or 1 minute because your system will be up. It will run all the background processes. Let's wait for some time. So it is setting up server manager. So we need to do something in server manager as well, because by default it is going to have a lot of security issues. That's why it will, whenever you are accessing any website or something, it will ask you to add that website link in your settings. Okay, uh, so what you need to do is you need to turn off your security firewall. Okay, come to local server. See, IE enhances security configuration. This security configuration I want to turn off. Just to turn off these things. Click OK. You can now come to Internet Explorer. Here you can say I want to install the Chrome because ADF will not open in your IE. Let's install the Chrome browser. Click on down. What is this? Microsoft Edge. So that is also okay, but let's go with Chrome only. It will be familiar with us. Chrome download. Just enter Chrome download. Just click on this first link itself. Google Chrome. Let's click download Chrome. Click accept and install. Run it. Okay, so within a minute your Chrome will be installed. So once your Chrome is installed, you are going to open your portal, Azure portal, everything here. Okay.
Malaya, suppose if I'm creating a virtual machine on this free trial Azure portal, it is going to use all the credits and we will run out of the free trial version, right?
Virtual machines you should not use because these are very costly per day. Like per hour you are going to pay. So I think some 14 rupees. So if you consider per day how
Yeah,
much it is going to
suppose
be.
for, okay, I'm going to create it now for testing or creating this one, and if I can delete that, and so it is going to reduce the cost,
So
and we can use.
yeah, I will tell you. Don't
Yeah.
worry, don't worry. Just wait. I will tell you there are some other ways. I will tell you those tips so you can follow those things to practice these things. Okay, don't worry. So I will give you those tips how you can practice these things without all these things, without all this worry. Okay, we have another way also. I will explain you. Basically, okay, our Chrome is ready now. Okay, I will explain those things at the end. Just wait. So now, don't worry. So about pricing and everything, I know how you can. Okay, so now let's open a new tab here. System is a little bit slow. Now just click on here. Let's open our portal. Portal dot Azure. Okay, so now you can type here. So we know our mail ID, our account. Right? Okay, just I will bring that code. Okay, now I'm just pasting the code here. Verify it. Verification is done. Just click no thanks. Now you will be inside this account because you are opening this Azure portal in another new mission, right? That's why it will ask you to authenticate. So I have authenticated. Now I am able to log in into the portal successfully. So first thing that I want to do is let's open your storage account. Okay. One thing you can do, right click on this data factory, open in a new tab. Let's open storage account here. Go inside East2S storage account. Let's click on containers. Let's click on container here. This is basically you can consider as a input container. Create it. You can create one more thing called output container. Okay, create. These two things I am doing here. Come to data factories. Click on this data factory. Open this author. Like open your data. Now click on this. I open, this is my data factory. Data factory, this is my storage account. In storage account, I have a input and output. Now I want to download some data. Okay, how to download is come to Google via browser. Okay, I will tell you. Download large data sets. Large CSV data sets download. You can say large CSV data sets download. Something you can say. So you can go to any website. You can go to any website. But I downloaded files from some website. Okay, let's go here. CSV files for download. Let's see if the file is not available. I will take. Come back. I will tell you. Just include here. Just put health is the keyword here. Here you see healthdata.gov. Okay, go inside here. Come down. Just go inside state and country policy. I'm not sure these are big data sets or small data sets. Just click download here. These are CSV, but these are small. Okay. Come back. I did not remember that website exactly. Finished. One second, let me just check whether I pasted anywhere in my notepad. Okay, let's click on 1 GB. See, 1 GB file is downloading some bin.bin. Anything is fine. So we no need to have a CSV because anyhow we are going to load this file as a binary file. Okay, so let it be. Okay, we are downloading the 1 GB file. Let it download. But you can test it with anything. Okay, you no need to use only this website, but you can use any website. Okay, this is the file I have downloaded. Go to your storage account now in East2S. Go inside this input container. Let's upload. Select here. Click on downloads. See, this is the 1 GB .bin. Okay, select that, click upload. See 40. So it is going to upload quickly if you are doing it everything from the VM. Okay. So because this VM is, who is going to provide the internet for this VM? Microsoft. You see here, this network is from the data center network. That's why it will be faster for downloading anything. Okay, come here. In real time, are we working on VM? In real time, we are not going to work on VM only. Okay, so we will work in your laptop only. That is based on your security things with respect to the project. Some project they will ask you to connect to the VM. From VM they will ask you to access, but of some of the resources you are going to access it from the VM, but not all the resources. Okay, fine. Now our data will upload into storage. Meanwhile, we will create our pipeline in our Azure Data Factory. Come to Data Factory. Let's click on Manage tab. Okay, we know linked service we need to create. Click New. Blob storage continue. This is basically linked service for ABS or East US. So this is the East US blob storage I'm connecting. Okay, subscription is this, and the storage account is East US. Okay, created. So I also create a linked service for India storage account. Click New. Click storage account. Click Continue. This is the, you can say, LS ABS India. Let's select free trial. This is the research group case India. You no need to test the connection, create it because connection will be successful 100%. Now come to Author tab. Okay, let's create a data sets. Click New. So because if the file format is something else, you don't know what is the file format. Okay, if it is some text file or something, so you have this format. If the file is apart from this, so .bin is the my file extension, then you can go with binary. Okay, if anything text file whatever, you can go with the binary. Okay, remember, binary means it will copy exactly without reading the data, it will copy as a bulk. Okay, now this one I can say DS. So DS for ABS, source, the source, you just give source to source. This is East US. Okay, I'm connecting to the East US. Select from which folder you need to read the data. I want to read data from input folder. Okay, create it. When your source is binary, your sync should be binary, remember. Okay, new data set. So for blocks to the continue, it's binary, continue. This is basically DS ABS sync. Use the existing connection. East US. Up, select output container. Click OK. Okay, click OK now. So you have created the two data sets now. Let's click on pipeline. Click pipeline. Drag your copy activity. Okay, if you want to rename this, you can say PL for performance. Okay, PL for performance. Drag your copy data activity. You can just use your sources. Source data set. In case this data set. Now you know source side you selected the folder name, so you need to give the wildcard file path. Let's give it as a star. Now come to general. Okay, Now I just rename this one to copy data from east to west to east to west. Okay, east to west to east to west. I want to copy the data. So I want to copy data from east to west to east to west. Okay, now let's click debug. If we click debug, what should happen? Now let's go to storage account once, verify. See, you have a 1 GB.bin is uploaded. It is in a input container. Let's click on this, click on output container and see. Do you have anything? No, I don't have anything. Now come here. I want to click debug. Just click on debug. Now let's go to settings and see what settings we have. Data integration units are these settings here. You need to focus. Data integration unit is auto. Maximum you can use 256. You can see here. As we are in a free trial subscription, it is showing up to 32 we can use. See, up to 32 it is showing for us, but actually you can use a 256 if you have any other subscription. Next, degree of parallelism. You just uncheck it and you can see maximum how many it is showing. So here also, I think it is showing. 1 second. Okay, up to 32 only it is showing. Degree of integration, data integration units and degree of copy parallelism. We are showing only 32. You see. Okay, up to 32 it is showing for us. That is okay because we are in a free trial, but in real, like if you have any other subscription up to 256 DAUs, you can able to take. Let's go with default things. Auto and a degree of copy parallelism also. I'm not selecting anything. We'll see by default how many it will take. Click debug. We know the default DAU it should take a 4. Okay. Copy parallelism units, maybe it will take degree of parallelism 2. Let's see now what it is going to take. Now it is job is queued. Because it's serverless, right? So server it should get the resources to start your copy activity. So it did not get the resources to start our copy activity. That's why job is queued. So let's try to do one thing. Let's cancel this because the job is queued since long time. Okay, let's click debug once again. We'll see this time at least all we're going to get. If auto resolve integration runtime is not working, then we can able to change we can create our own Azure integration runtime. Maybe we can create this server in some other location so that we can able to get the resources. Okay, see, this job is taking long time. Okay, still job is queued. So in this case, what you need to do, how you can debug the things is, now come to manage tab here. Okay, go to integration runtime. Let's create your own integration runtime. See, this integration runtime, we know in which location it will be there. Anybody remember in which location it will be there? This location is nobody knows. Location will be auto resolved. Region is auto resolved, meaning based on from where to where you are copying data, it will go and set up the server. Okay, if you are copying data from east to west to India, then in the India data center, your auto resolve integration runtime will be created. Okay, now this auto resolve integration runtime is not allowing us to start our copy activity. So that's why what I wanted to do now, I want to create my own integration runtime in my own data center. On whatever data center I want to use, that data center I can able to use. So for that, what you need to do, let's go to your author tab once again to verify whether it's picked or not. It looks like it is not picked yet. Okay, so we understood it is not going to work today. Let's click new and create our own Azure integration runtime. We will create. How we will create? Click new, click Azure or self-hosted, click continue. Azure integration runtime, click continue. So here you see this is the integration runtime name. Okay, this you can say Cloud Pandit IR. Okay, some description if you want to give, you can give here. You see type is Azure and virtual network configuration. Do you have any virtual network? So I don't have, so I will disable it. Auto resolve, I don't want to put this one auto resolve. I want to give the location East US. I will say in East US. So if I go with East US, for sure I will not have any issue. Let's click create your Azure integration. See, your Cloud Pandit IR is running. Let's go to author tab and check if the pipeline is successfully picked. No issue. See, it's copied. Otherwise, I thought of using our own integration. We create our Azure IR that we can use. Okay, but this is not the correct duration, because the problem is it has queued the job. How much time it queued the job, that we can get it. How you will get it is just a click on this glass. Okay, so just expand this, maximize this. See here, come down, you will see queue. Okay, how much job is queued? 2 minutes 7 seconds job is queued. Okay, transfer, how much time it took to transfer the data? 12 seconds. Listing sources 0 seconds. Reading from source, for reading 1 GB data, it just took 10 seconds. Writing to sync, it just took 10 seconds. Next, used DIUs, data integration unit, it's nothing but a power. What is meant by power? The combination of memory, CPU and network resources. Okay, how many DIUs it has used? 4. How many parallel copies it has used? Only one. Only one it has used. Clear? But actual time it has taken to copy data is just 12 seconds. Just 2 minutes 7 seconds. Job is queued because it did not get the required resources. I want to run the job once again. Let's see how we can run it. Just click debug once again. Let's see whether this time the job is picked immediately. So I don't want to use this auto resolve integration runtime. So because it is queuing my job every time, so I'll just cancel this. I will change the integration runtime to my own Azure integration runtime. So this is this particular issue is temporary. We have seen we never faced previously, but today we are getting this issue. That's why I just canceled this particular debugging. Okay, I cancel this. Come to manage tab. How you can change? You need to use Cloud Pandit IR instead of Auto Resolve IR. For that, go to linked service. Click on this linked service. This is the linked service we are using currently. Click on that integration runtime. In this drop down, you select Cloud Pandit IR. Okay, just apply. That's all. I just made the change. Now I will run my pipeline. I will check whether I'm going to my pipeline is going to run immediately or job is queuing here also. Job is queuing even if I use Azure IR. I think all data centers servers are busy something. This time we are using Cloud Pandit IR, but we are having same issue. I think in backend server issues. So they will have issues in their data centers. Okay. So due to that, our pipelines will impact. Okay. So it is running now. Okay. Let's see now. It just ran 1 minute 22 seconds. Just click on this. Again, now you can verify. So you can see total data it read is 1000 MB. Total data it has written is 1000 MB. Files read is 1 because we have only one file. Files written is only 1. Peak connection is 10, meaning at a time you'd have a 10 connections will establish to read the data. Okay, peak connection 16. For writing, it increases the connections 16, meaning for writing it has written data much more faster because we have a 16 connections to write the data. Throughput is how much data it has written per second. You can see approximately, yeah, on an average, it has written 12.5 MB per second on an average. Sometimes it may go up to 20 MB per second, 30 MB per second. Okay, if you increase the DIUs, see when you are using 4 DIUs, you can able to see even like 50 Mbps and 100 Mbps also you can able to see if you use 4 DIUs. Okay, I will show you all these things. Now again come down. Copy duration, it just took 1 minute 20 seconds, but this is not the entire time which it has copied. It just queued, job is queued most of the time, and job copied only within very few seconds. Those more details you can able to see. Next, when our copy activity started this time, how many DAUs it has used for, how many parallel copies, only one thread it has used. Duration is 1 minute 20 seconds. In this 1 minute 8 seconds, job is queued. 1 minute 8 second. Where is that? Just expand this. Come down. You see 1 minute 8 second job is queued and transferred is 0.09 seconds. Just 9 seconds it took to read the data. 9 seconds it took to write the data. Okay. So data consistency verification, it's not verified because it's a binary. For other file formats, it is going to do the data consistency verification. It's nothing but it is going to check the size of the files. It is going to check the number of columns, number of records. Okay, all those things it is going to check. Okay, come here. Let's refresh and see here. We have a 1 GB data. Now, what happened is I ran 2 times. Why I'm able to see 1 GB dot bin only one file? Because you know, right? You are using preserved hierarchy copy behavior. If you are in this, data will be overridden all the time. So that's why what you need to do, In sync side, you need to change the copy behavior. So what we need to use, you remember flatten hierarchy, it will change the name of the file. Even though content is changed, content is same, file name it will change and load it into your destination. You need to go with flatten hierarchy. Yesterday we have seen those things. Okay, just click debug now. And when I am debugging, this time I will just change my data integration runtime data integration unit to 2. Okay, so I will go with degree of copy parallelism is default. Started immediately. Okay, job is completed within 16 seconds. Let's see again whether job is took any time to like queue. So you want 1000 MB, 1000 MB has written, one file it read, one file it has written, 10 peak connections, 16 peak connection. See, on an average, it just written 76.923 MB per second. Okay. So here you see 13 seconds is the copy duration, out of which 2 seconds it took for the queuing the job, 11 seconds it took for the copying the data. And how many DIUs we have used? 2 DIUs. Okay. Previously it just took 9 seconds if you remember. Now it took 11 seconds because as we decreased the DIUs. Clear?
Malaya, is this fast because you have changed it to the platinum hierarchy, or
So behavior doesn't matter. Here only matters DIUs and the parallel copy activities. These units, parallel copy units and DIUs is the important.
so previously it was
parallel copies you
changed to
have
2 now, right?
mentioned? What?
Previously it was 4, I think, DAUs, or by default it was
Yes,
default.
previously it took 9 seconds to complete everything.
Okay.
This time it took 11 seconds to complete.
Okay.
Now we'll try to do one thing. What I wanted to do, I will just run with same settings. I will run one more time. Just click debug. What is going to happen now? Can you guess it and tell me how many files will be there in my output container? How many files will be there in my output container? Previously one is there. Previously I copied with a flatten hierarchy. This time also I copied with a flatten hierarchy. So this time total I should have 3, because first one is the one file we will have as this, and second file I copied, but file name it will generate automatically. This time also flatten hierarchy, meaning this time also new file will be like same content, but file name will change and it will load. So total you will see 3 files here, you see. So now I have a 3 GB of data in this output container. Remember, I have a 3 GB of data in this output container. Come to cloud here, PDF. Click on this. Let's click on this glass. See here. Now again it took 13 seconds. Okay, come down. So it just took for queuing 1 second, and here you can see for like transferring the data, it took some 11 seconds. But so you will not be able to understand if you're trying to copy data something like this. Okay, so that's why, because if you're trying with 1 GB data, it is going to finish it in 10 seconds, 11 seconds. So this is not going to give you any insights. So you just keep on debugging 2 more times, so that I will have a 5 GB of data. This 5 GB of data I will load it into my India data center from East US data center. Now that time you see it will take minimum 5 minutes. Okay, at that time you can able to analyze few things. Okay, this is just 15 seconds. Here 2 seconds, 3 second difference, you cannot differentiate with this. Okay, that's why I'm running once again. So now I will have a total 5 GB of data in my copy in output container. You see one more file came now. Within 2 or 3 seconds, I will see one more file will come now. See, now I have total 5 GB data in my output container. This output container data, I want to load it into my another storage, which is India data. So which I have created in a India data center. Let's go to storage account. Because if you compare with the seconds difference, it will be difficult for you to tune. The performance tuning is difficult within seconds, you cannot say. That's why let's try to copy 5 GB of data, but I have given some statistics by running 16 GB data. Okay, now container, in this container I can say, you just say this is something input, or you can say final data. This is my folder, click create. Okay, this is the India data center. Here I have a East US data center. Sorry, this is a India storage, this is the East US storage. Now come to data factory. Now what I wanted to do here, I want to change my source to sink. What is this sink? The sink refers to output container in East US data center. Okay. Now I will come here. I'll just click. Oh, I don't want to open this. 1 second. Don't confuse, friends. If you are going to confuse, I will create a new pipeline. Let's create a new pipeline. Otherwise, why you need to confuse here? So drag copy activity. So now I want to move data from output container to the final data container. So let's click new data set, blob storage, continue. So what type of file you have? Binary data. Click continue. So this is, you can say, DS ABS for East. Okay, so this is the source. East is the source. East US is going to be our source data set. Okay, use this linker service, East US linker service, and browse. So where you have 5 GB of data in output container, select output container. That's all. This is going to be our source. Click OK. So source data set is ready. Let's click on sync. Let's click new. Blob storage, continue. Binary data, click continue. So this is basically DS ABS India sync. India is going to be my target sync. Okay, India. So let's select the folder called final data. Click OK. Okay, now you have all the details. So if you come to source side, we have selected a folder. So wildcard I need to put wildcard file path is star. So all 5 files I want to load it into my target. Let's click debug this time. You can able to like check all the details in detail. Okay, job is in progress. Now you just click on this. Now you see, okay, what is your throughput? Everything you will come to know. So this is live. You can able to monitor all the details. Just wait. Okay, it is going to give you all those details. Now you see used to DAUs auto. We just set auto. That's why how many DAUs it is using? 8 DAUs. Why it is using 8 DAUs? Because we are moving data from, see, we are moving data from East to West to, this is in India. We are moving data from East to West to India. Now you see files read is 3. How much data it read as of now? 4.754 GB, and it has written 3.883 GB. Already it has written. Files written is just 2. It is still writing. So what is the throughput per second? How much data we are writing? 113 MB per second it has written. Already succeeded because it has used 8 DAUs. That's why it is able to write data within 44 seconds. So it is not good because it is using 8 DAUs. It is very costly. I don't want to use 8 DAUs. I will just change the DAUs to 4 because I just set it to auto. When you set it to auto, It is taking 8 because it realized that you are copying data from east to west to India. See auto. It is used 8. Now I will go with only 4. I don't want to use 8. Okay, 4. Now I am setting up integration unit to 4. Now just click debug again. Job in progress. Now just click on this. Now you see in progress. See now the number of DIUs, how many? 4. Used parallel copies is 1. Okay, remember. See queued job is queued to like 2 seconds. Transferring is still happening. That's why this timing is going to vary. Whenever you refresh, you see how much data it is read. 2.516 GB it read. How much data it has written as of now? 113. So the job in progress. If you see the throughput units, it is going to keep on changing. If you keep refresh here, see 50.51, 49, 47, 46, 46 MB. So 45, 44. It is going to keep on changing. Now you see how much data it read. Like up to 4 GB we have. Total 4 GB data we have. As of now, it read only like 2 point something. Now it read almost all the data. See, this time it took more. Previously, it just took 44 seconds. But now it is taking more time because I just reduced my DIUs. Clear, succeeded. It took now 1 minute 36 seconds. Okay, this difference everybody observed.
Yeah.
This difference everybody observed, friend. Okay. So previously it took 44 seconds. Now it is a 1 minute 36 seconds. Now, okay. So that is up to you, friends. But anyhow I will share the recording. If you have some time, you just keep waiting. Okay, because you need to wait some more time. I will show you a few more samples. See, I have a 5 GB of data loaded. But what happened is I have ran this particular pipeline twice, but data came only once because, can you tell me the reason? I previously explained. Can you anybody guess it? Now tell me. Copy behavior. Again, it's a preserved hierarchy. Let me change it to the flattened hierarchy. Yesterday we discussed each and everything in detail. Okay. Click debug. Now if you debug, it is going to add those, like for that 5 GB, it is going to add 5 more GB. Now it will become a 10 GB. This 10 GB, we will try to load it in a reverse way. From India to East US, we will try to load this data and we will see. Okay, so maybe let me cancel this and I will run with a 2 DIUs. How much time it will take, you see. I cancel this. I will go to settings. Let's use only. So here you see 2, 4, 8 you have. But if you want to set up odd number of DIUs, you just click edit. You can able to edit this number. Okay. But in this drop down, you will see only 2, 4 all even numbers. Okay. If you want 2, you just select 2. If you want 3, 4 odd numbers, you can click edit and you can edit that number of DIUs. Click debug. Now what you need to do, just click on this. Progress 27 seconds it took. Refresh, you see 72 like 68 MB per second. So here you see the number of DIUs is how many we are using. The number of DIUs is 2. See, when I decreased the number of DIUs, I have not changed the parallel copies. Parallel copies also increased because it realized that if I use 2 DIUs, it is going to take more time if I am not increasing the parallel units. like parallel copies. That's why this parallel copies count is also automatically increased. Okay, so now you refresh.
So we can set up parallel copies as we wish.
One second, I will take your question. Please be in mode only. Okay, see here, copy duration, you can see here 1 minute 27 seconds. So compared to previous one, the time is less. But I reduced the DAUs, but the time it took is approximately same as previous one. Why? The reason is, even though I decreased the DAUs, this time the parallel copies we have increased. Parallel copies is increased automatically. So if you increase the DAUs and parallel copies, performance will increase. This is proved now. Everybody is agree with this? Now you can ask Murli your question.
Yeah, as we are wish, we can increase parallel copies by manual. My question. After decreasing
Yes,
DAUs.
manually you can do. I have not parallel copies. Manually
Okay.
you can able to do those things. I've shown that to change them. Okay. Now be in mute mode.
Malaya, so when we are copying this
Yes.
5 GB data which we loaded to East US output container, and when we are migrating it to the India container,
Yes.
so we have changed the output source of the India container to the output of the US, right?
Yes, that's what we have done, because in each US storage output container we have a 5 GB of data. That's why I have created a separate data set which will refer to output container in each US storage.
Okay.
Okay. Now in my not here, so here you have a 5 GB data, but when you come here final data folder, now you see 10 GB data here. Refresh it, because I have used a flatten hierarchy. Now I have a 10 GB of this data. This 10 GB of data I want to load it into East US. Now in East US I want to load it into this output same. Okay, for this let me delete these things, or you can keep these things and you can use a flatten hierarchy so that you will not have any this issue. Okay, come here. Now what we need to do, can anybody tell me? We just have to interchange these data sources, data sets. This data set I will say India data set here I will put, and my sync is East to West, because now I am going to move data from India to East to West, and it is in a flatten hierarchy. Yes. Next, India side, pick all the files which we have in a final data container and everything I need to do. That's why star. And how many DAUs we are using now? So I'm going with, let's go with 4. If you go with 2, it will be too late. Okay, let's go with 4. Let's click debug now. Job in progress. Now just click on this. And just click refresh here. So see here, the DAUs, when I increase the DAUs, automatically degree of parallelism copies are decreased. This number is decreased, but you can enable, you can increase this number. You can able to do that. Let me show you that later. Now you see 47 MB per second and 1.7 GB we have read, and it has written 1.75 GB. Now you can keep refreshing to check all these details. Refresh this. Okay, keep refresh. You can see here the throughput it is going to use. So how much data it read? 3.3 and now it became 4.19 GB. Okay. See, later, see, the used parallel copies is increased because it realized it is taking more time. So automatically your copy activity increased the parallel copies to 2. You remember starting it used 1, but now it is using 2 because it realized as data is moving, so it will experience some kind of a load. Okay, then it will increase the parallel, like it will initiate the more threads. So as of now, it initiated the through 2 threads, you can see. Clear now? So parallel, degree of parallelism units, even you no need to change it. Basically, those things will be taken care by your copy activity in a optimized way only. But DAUs you need to take care. Sometimes it is going to use overly DAUs. It will increase the cost. Okay. And if you decrease so when you are processing small data set, you need to use the less number of DAUs. When you have large data sets, you need to use the more number of DAUs. Now you see, as of now it copied 6.414 GB. Let's refresh. How much data it is copying per second? 38 MB. Refresh this. How much time it took total? You can see here, 3 minutes 30 seconds. So if you try with the large data sets bigger than this, so you will see more time it will take. See, now it is 8.074 GB. So maximum it is using these two things. Okay, so these two are very important in terms of your copy activity performance. Not only these two, so I will tell you what are the other parameter will impact on your performance, copy activity performance. Okay. It's almost finished now.
Malaya, the used DAUs and the used parallel copies, is this which are selected by us or by default it has been selected like that?
Which one?
The used DAUs,
DAUs,
or it is by
we
default?
have selected DAUs. Parallel copies we left to the copy activity. So copy activity it has taken automatically two parallel copies. Initially it started with 1 parallel copy. Later it went to 2. Okay, if you observe from the beginning, initially it took just 1. Later it initiated one more thread.
Okay, so initiating these 2 threads. Okay, who is going to make a decision like we need to go through these 2 threads? Like, is it taken care by the self-hosted integration runtime or Azure integration runtime?
Where it will come self-hosted integration on time. You are moving data from cloud to cloud. Then what is the point? So where your self-hosted IR will come here?
So how can we
The slides mentioning it is DAUs will apply only on the Azure integration runtime. Okay.
parallel copies
So there
used?
is no point of self-hosted IR here. Parallel copies we have not selected. Copy activity initially it started with 1 thread. later it will experience more load or more pressure, because it will scan all the data. You can see listing the sources. So first thing that it is going to do in this transfer data, it is going to list down the sources, how much data it has to transfer. So once it lists down, it will know. So once it calculated internally, then it will realize a lot of data is there to read and write. So then it initiated the one more thread. Okay, so three things will happen here. First, listing the sources, then it will read the data, then it will write the data. Okay, when you list down, you will come to know how much data you need to transfer. Based on that, it is going to increase the parallel copies. But DAUs, it will not increase because you have set it up manually. But if you set it as a auto, it will increase automatically, DAUs also. Okay, so that particular option, if you want to see, let me show you once again. Click on this. Click on copy activity. Refresh this, it is already finished. Yeah, in settings, you see data integration units 4. Now just click on this, auto is there. If you select auto, even it will increase data integration units automatically. Okay, because you are leaving this number of units to the copy activity, it will increase based on data. Degree of copy parallelism, I am not setting up anything, so that's why it is increased automatically. In the same way, if you left this data integration unit to the copy activity, it will increase automatically. Next, so what are the other things will create a problem for your data is, so as you are in a basically you are using the binary files. Binary files means you will not have that option. But let's say I will go and create let's create one more this. I will show you, because it's a binary. Binary means other performance factors will not be available. But if you go with other file formats, let's come to settings. We'll do one thing. Let's create a quickly. I will just create two data sets with a CSV data sets, so that those other options it will show. Okay, you just select CSV. Just I'm going with some default values. Okay, don't select any folders, it's not required. Delimited text, I am not changing the name also. Sync side also, I'm not giving the name, proper names and all. Just create a data sets for CSV something. I'm not doing anything. Okay, now you go to your settings. See here something called data consistency verification. This option is not available for your pipeline one because it's a binary file. See, data consistency verification option is not available here. But when you create other file formats, data sets, you are able to see data consistency verification. What it will do, you just put cursor here, it will tell you when selecting this option, copy activity will do additional data consistency verification between source and destination store after data movement. Once data is copied, it is going to do all the verification. What verification it will do? Verification includes file size checksum verification of verification for binary files, and row count verification for tabular data. So if it is a tabular data, it will check the number of records. If it is a files, it will check the number of files, and it will also check the file size. Okay, so if you enable this option, it is going to do extra things. Your copy activity is going to take one more step extra. Not only copying data, it has to verify the details. That's why this particular option will cause your performance. It will have a performance impact or performance issue. Okay, so if you really required, then only you enable this option. Otherwise, you just disable. If anybody by mistake enable this, you will see some performance issue. Just disable this, then you will have again performance performance improvement. You can able to see if you disable this option. Okay, if you uncheck this option. Clear? Any questions, friends? Okay, if no questions, that's all for today, friends. Thank you.